Okay, the topic of this video is being called sir. Nowadays, the word sir is used in the most inappropriate ways possible. Myself and many men out there absolutely hate that fucking shit, especially from young girls. Now, in a 4 or 5 star hotel, obviously at a shop that sells expensive men's shoes and suits and ties and stuff, at the Jaguar or Mercedes dealership or at a really fancy restaurant where I'm paying, $200 for a steak and lobster, cool. I worked security for a couple of years in my early 20s, and I had people call me sir. No problem, because, I was in uniform, which resembles a police officer's uniform in many ways, and I had, like, a badge of sorts. So it's to be expected. But at Walmart, at Buffalo Wild Wings, where they serve wings, beer, and you watch sports, come on, man. Does it sound right? Does this sound right to you? Welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings, sir. How may I take your order, please? It's like, fuck off, man. It's just rude and insulting. You know, I don't want some late teen, early 20s chick calling me sir. It's literally like getting kicked in the nuts, and it's absolutely disgusting. Now, I understand I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm not so naive. I'm approaching my mid-30s. I know I'm not a kid anymore. But do I have to be reminded of it constantly? It's the same thing as taking, the hits music, from the 90s and calling it adult contemporary. Some of those songs have even been converted to Muzak, elevator music. Ugh. I remember talking to my father, rest in peace, he passed away a year ago, about how at older people's events, cocktail parties, networking stuff and so on, how people just love to say, wow, you look so young. What'd you do to your hair? It just looks so young. I mean, he was just cringing and just grimacing at just how nauseating this was. I mean, he's a guy who did the opposite of most aging men and dyed his hair white because he just couldn't digest and swallow without someone telling him that he looked just so young and so youthful. I mean, a lot of that comes from the fact that he was a musician. He played guitar back in the 60s, so he would frequent guitar shops and music shops and such, and he even commented on just how foul it was for the workers there, calling him sir at a rock and roll store. I told him just to tell him that, you didn't like it and ask him, hey, please don't call me sir, I don't appreciate that. And I've even seen when they would even cop an attitude and ask very condescendingly, well, what do you want to be called then? I've experienced this myself in places where I was called sir inappropriately. Well, let's just say I have no intentions of moving to the South, because I don't feel like being called Mr. Sir 4 or 5 times a sentence. Now, young girls, obviously 18 and early 20s, and people who work in places like the Van Store, Buffalo Wild Wings, McDonald's, guitar shops, so on and so forth. If you're watching this, don't call the men who walk in sir. We find that offensive, and it's really just hurtful, you know? Sure, I'll say again, I know I'm not aging. I know I'm aging, that I'm not a teenager anymore, that I'm not exactly cute and young buck and all that, but do I have to be reminded of it constantly? But anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.